There is a moment on this journey that almost no one prepares you for, because it doesn't look like what you expected. It doesn't feel like what you imagined, and it doesn't arrive when you are still waiting for them. It happens after you let go, after you stopped reaching, after you finally pulled your energy back into yourself, not out of anger, not out of force, but because something inside you shifted, quietly, completely. You stopped needing the connection to validate you. You stopped replaying the past. You stopped holding space for a version of them that never fully chose you. And in that space, you became steady. You became grounded. You became whole in a way you hadn't been before. And that is when it happens. That is when they feel it again. Not faintly, not as a memory, but fully, suddenly, intensely. The connection comes back online. The pull returns. The awareness hits them in a way it didn't before. Because now, there is nothing distorting it. There is no chasing energy to lean on. No emotional availability being offered without reciprocity. No version of you reaching across the distance trying to keep the bond alive. For the first time, they feel it without interference, and it is undeniable. Because this connection was never built on illusion. It was built on truth. And truth does not disappear. It only waits until it can be seen clearly. But here is the part no one talks about. When they feel it again, they expect to find the same version of you on the other side. The one who would respond immediately. The one who would soften. The one who would meet them exactly where they left you. But that version of you no longer exists. And they feel that too. Not because you told them, not because you explained it, but because energy does not lie. They reach for the connection, and something feels different. Still there, still powerful, still magnetic, but no longer accessible in the same way. It is not gone. It has changed. You are no longer meeting them from longing. You are no longer responding from absence. You are no longer aligning with the version of the connection that required you to abandon yourself. And because of that, the entire dynamic shifts. This is the moment where the journey turns. Not because they come forward, but because you are no longer standing where they left you. You are somewhere else now, internally, energetically, completely. And for them, this is disorienting, because the connection is still pulling, but the access point is gone. They feel you, but they cannot reach you the same way. They recognize you, but they cannot interact with you through the same patterns. And that forces something in them to surface, something they avoided before, something they could delay when you were still holding the connection open. They are now faced with the truth of it, not the comfort, not the fantasy, not the version that existed when you were doing the emotional work for both of you, but the real thing. And the real thing requires presence. It requires honesty. It requires movement. And most importantly, it requires alignment. Because this is no longer a connection they can step in and out of without consequence. You are no longer available in that way. You are no longer stabilizing the bond for them. You are no longer holding the emotional weight of it alone. And that changes everything. This is where many people get confused, because they think when the connection returns, it means things are going back to how they were. But this is not a return. This is a reveal, a deeper layer, a clearer version, a moment where everything that was hidden becomes visible. And in that visibility, there is a choice, not just for them, but for you. Because you feel it too. You feel the connection come back. You feel the pull. You feel the familiarity of it. But this time, you are not consumed by it. You are aware of it. You can observe it without losing yourself inside it. And that is the difference. That is the shift. You are no longer inside the connection. You are standing in yourself. And from that place, you see clearly. You see what it was. You see what it is. And most importantly, you see what it would require to meet it again. Not partially, not emotionally, but fully. And that clarity changes your response. You are no longer reacting. You are choosing. Choosing whether the version of the connection being presented actually aligns with who you are now. And that is where the real transformation happens, because the connection alone is no longer enough. The pull is no longer enough. The history is no longer enough. It has to meet you where you are now, not where you were. And that is something they cannot bypass. They can feel the connection, but they cannot recreate the old dynamic. They can recognize you, but they cannot access you through the same version of themselves. Something in them has to rise, or the distance remains. Not because you are withholding, but because you are no longer abandoning yourself to maintain the bond. This is the part of the journey that is quiet. It is not dramatic. It is not chaotic. It is not filled with constant movement. It is still. But underneath that stillness, everything is shifting. Because this is where truth replaces illusion. This is where alignment replaces attachment. This is where the connection either evolves or reveals that it cannot meet you at this level. And either way, you are no longer lost inside it. You are no longer defined by it. You are no longer waiting for it to become something it has not shown itself to be. You are present. You are aware. You are grounded in yourself. And from that place, you cannot unknow what you now see. So when they feel it again, and they do, it is no longer about whether the connection exists. It is about whether it can rise to meet you. Because you are not going back to where you were. You are not returning to a version of yourself that needed this to feel complete. You are not reopening a space that required you to shrink to maintain it. You have already crossed that threshold. And once that happens, there is no reversal, only forward, only truth, only alignment. So the connection returning is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of a different one. One where both people are faced with who they actually are, without distortion, without avoidance, without the safety of old patterns. And in that space, everything becomes clear. Not through words, not through promises, but through energy, through presence, through what is actually met and what is not. And that clarity is what finally breaks the illusion. Not the connection, the illusion. Because the connection was always real, but now, so are you.